Welcome to Monkey See,
Monkey Review.
where we are going to be talking about episode 6 of
What If?
What If? What if Killmonger saved Tony Stark?
So, timeout. If you haven't watched that episode, please go watch it because spoilers will commence now.
So he saves Tony Stark's life. Boom. There it is.
End of episode.
Episode. Yeah. So what'd you think? What'd you like? Interesting episode?
Liked it. It kind of gave more backstory to Killmonger.
Yes.
As far as how smart he was
Yeah.
and some of the same mentality, same character throughout.
Yeah.
What we have seen in the MCU with him.
Yeah, we got to see a lot more than what we saw. We had references and alluding to in Black Panther, but we definitely got a lot more filled out in this episode.
Yeah.
So I thought it was good. I thought it was really good. A little dark again.
Yes.
But I think that's going to be the staple for
this
what we're
series?
seeing with
Yeah.
What If.
Yeah, they
so.
pretty much cut the tape and was like, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, they were just like, okay, so if we want to
Killing
go,
people left and right.
yeah, if we just want to go like buck wild, what does that look like? Okay, here it is.
Yep.
Yeah,
I mean, I've
so-
seen so many memes where like, you guys sure you're not part of the or the DC universe? Like, I thought this was the MCU.
Right.
Yeah.
It's been really dark, really very impressive, though. I'm very happy with the result. So essentially what this story is about is at the beginning of Iron Man 1, when they, instead of Tony Stark getting hit with the shrapnel from his own missiles, Eric Killmonger shows up, takes the rocket, chunks it, saves Iron Man's life, and then escorts him out of Africa or out of Afghanistan.
So what did you think about the 10 Rings reference
So
at this point?
Okay, so that plays into a lot of different things I have in my head going on. Like, are they sowing little seeds here and there in these episodes for bigger things that are happening in the regular 616 MCU?
Mm-hmm.
And my thought was, okay, what if that really was going on? Like, what if he really was, because they make reference to Eric Killmonger being in Afghanistan. What if he really was infiltrating and working with the 10 Rings? How does that now play in the Shang-Chi?
Yep.
Because that's a huge movie right now that we all know we just saw.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very interesting theory that there could be more going on to it, especially after seeing the ending of Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
No spoilers about that, but it was very interesting to see that there might be more connections for him because he was a Navy SEAL infiltrating the 10 Rings in this episode, and we get references to that and a lot of talking.
Yeah.
But it was, I would love to see if they actually brought that in some way, shape, or form in the MCU, especially now that we have a lot more filled out on the 10 Rings.
Yeah, since they actually, fixed the 10 Rings.
Yeah, go back and be like, that first 10 Ring things, it was a joke.
Let's reset. Let's try it again.
Yeah. So we see him save him. We see him, we see the press conference following that up. And he calls out Obadiah Stane as the guy behind the assassination attempt of Iron Man. Well, not Iron Man, but Tony Stark, because he never goes to create this small arc reactor to save his life in this episode. So he never becomes Iron Man. This is now a world without Iron Man, which is kind of a big deal because Iron Man was so instrumental in creating the whole MCU universe.
Yeah, the Avengers and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and like we actually get that break right there where Iwatu the Watcher comes in and starts talking about when there is not an Iron Man, there was no.
Yeah, basically a hero's forged in darkness and trials, and without Tony Stark going to Afghanistan and getting captured, never happens.
Yeah. So. Yeah. It really sets the whole MCU in that universe on its head and just changes everything as far as like what you can expect. So we see him giving Happy Hogan's promotion to Killmonger, and then we see Happy Hogan just like very ticked off about it. I loved like his whole character in this episode. Like he was just hysterical in my opinion. Like just walks up, decks Obadiah Stane after Eric Killmonger.
Never liked that guy.
Yeah. Then he immediately gets Happy's position. Then he turns around and like the next scene gets Obadiah Stane's position. Mm-hmm. And then they start working on pretty much a miniature Gundam. Yeah. A little robot looking, no Iron Man, because these are completely ran by Jarvis, actually.
Yes, just basically unmanned drones.
Yeah, pretty much. But with a very advanced AI.
Kind of a nice nod out to Iron Man 2.
Yes.
And then that aspect of the unmanned drone kind of had the same.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a lot of little nods back and forth as far as like little things that we saw. And then you can look at them and kind of like go back and like, okay, wait a minute. So this technology developed this technology and back and forth. So, but it was really cool. Very fun. So they start building these robots. Of course, they don't have enough power source, which we get a great little moment where Tony's just like, oh, what if we build a small or take the arc reactor and like condense it down? Then he's like, no, that's a stupid idea. Nah. And it was just like, oh, dude, you're like right on the cusp. And Eric's like, what about vibranium?
Too bad Dad used all of it
back
in the war.
And then he just pulled out his necklace. He still has his father's necklace with the prince's ring on it.
Yep.
And he's just like, well, we need a whole lot more.
If we're going to make a fleet of them.
Exactly. And then Tony Stark sits there and says, well, I might know a guy. Then they bring in Ulysses Claw.
One of my favorite characters from the MCU.
I don't think they ever did enough with.
They did not. They did not do him justice because Andy
Serkis
is a phenomenal actor. And he was just fun character.
Yes.
You know, he took the spotlight in every single scene that he was in. It was just like, like I'm gonna do this thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna dominate. Like I'm gonna run this.
It's just fun. He had fun with his character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love those characters that are like maniacal, like borderline insane, but genius, and like run this whole organization.
Okay, Joker.
Exactly. One of those situations.
Yeah.
But we then see they calling in Rhodey and be like, hey, well, Rhodey can buy it because we can't buy it, but we can get Rhodey to buy it because he would be a government liaison.
Yep.
Rhodey goes in. Then, out of nowhere, while Rhodey's trying to make the deal with Claw, Black Panther shows up and just like starts hammering people, just taking everybody out. It was beautiful. Mm-hmm. Absolutely beautiful. He's doing his thing, and then shows up Killmonger, who uses the same sonic device to kill T'Challa and to kill Rhodey.
Well, he killed Rhodey with the Black Panther claws.
Yes.
And then he made it look like Rhodey killed T'Challa.
But did you notice the gun?
Yes.
It was a sonic weapon, which was potentially the same technology that Killmonger, or not Killmonger, but Claw used. But Obadiah used the small little one that went into the ear.
Yeah, that was the blocking, but he activated a device, which was smaller, which in Iron Man, the original Iron Man movie, same device. Yeah. But his was the more high-powered rifle version of it.
Yeah, so we see all these little, but it also makes me think in the real world, did Ulysses Claw somehow find that technology because that's what he might have used to create his sonic arm?
Potentially, yes, but I thought it was Wakandan tech than the arm. I thought it was one of their rifles, but I thought it was their. Yeah, I think he had enough vibranium to do it. I thought it was one of the Wakandan.
You think so?
Weapons, because they're more powerful than anything else, including Tony Stark's technology, because vibranium is in it.
So, really cool. Really, I don't know. It just gives me another reason to binge. Watch all of these episodes and movies again. Moving forward, we see them now have enough vibranium to complete all the drones, and they start marching on Wakanda.
All right. So back up right there. So after they kill Rhodey, they kill T'Challa. Yep. They have funerals and everything. Now he's pinned both sides against each other, right? And then Tony figures it out. Yeah. He comes home and he's like, "Hey, man, I brought you a souvenir. Oh, they were at a so-and-so at the airport, gift shop. And then, you should never play Clue with Jarvis because he sees all. Yeah, I already know you killed my buddy. Yeah. And you did all of this. And you led a nice paper trail right to me. Yep. Good job with that. And then, him and Killmonger go at it with one of the drones because Tony melts down his ring.
Yes, while he's away.
Finishes the drone. Working spectacularly, just like he thought it would with vibranium. Yep. And then he kills Tony Stark. Yeah,
it was insane.
He did not want to kill Tony. He was hoping he would not have to do that. Yeah. But it was sad, Yeah,
it was another moment where, how many times have we seen Tony go now? This is like 3 or 4?
and again frame the Wakandans for it.
Yep. So, which was brilliant.
Yes.
So he kills, what's his name? Sonic Claw, thank you. Brain stopped for a minute.
Yeah.
You kill Ulysses Claw. It takes him to the Wakandans, drops him there, and immediately shows him his lip tattoo instead of like in the movie.
Yep.
Where he actually waits to get in front of the king and then show in front of T'Challa. But T'Challa's gone.
No, he showed it as soon as he showed up with in Wakanda the first time too.
Did he?
Yeah, he shows it.
Yeah.
But he didn't say who he was.
I thought he waited till.
No,
okay.
He shows it again, but he never said who he was until he got in front of the council.
Again, another reason for me to go back and
I watched it recently. Yeah.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Lucky. So, really cool. Then we see him kind of step in, and they're like kind of welcoming him.
Yeah, because his
completely
the
different
king
vibe
is
than
still
what we
alive.
had in Black Panther.
Yeah, because the king is still alive, so he accepts him and he knows who he is.
Yes.
And thinking he's here to help.
Yep.
Blah blah blah.
Yep.
And
so
Eric just pulling the strings to get everything that he wants.
He was absolutely brilliant in this episode, as far as the way he played everybody against everybody.
Yeah.
And so we move forward. They have the robots actually stage an attack on Wakanda. Killmonger works with the Wakandans and helps shut them down once they pull down the barrier.
Shuts off Jarvis.
Yeah. Then he activates a secondary remote and tries to play like, oh no, Tony Stark was a brilliant guy. He must have had a backup plan. Yeah.
He was a villain. He never trusted anybody.
Exactly. So
also, he could be
the hero.
Yeah, and save the day. So
exactly.
He could.
Which I think is really just brilliant the way he did it. I mean, it just shows Killmonger's intelligence and.
Yeah, he was brilliant.
Oh yeah, absolutely, dude. I was very impressed with just his level of genius.
Yeah.
So
I mean, he got what he wanted.
He did.
He ends up as the new Black Panther.
Yep.
And then, but it's impending doom with the U.S. military about to come in there and throw absolutely everything they have at him, because the secret's out. Mm-hmm. Basically, Wakanda's bigger than what they say it is, right?
Yeah. Much more advanced. And I think his goal was exactly the same as it was in the Black Panther movie. The outcome, he wanted to liberate people of color from the oppression and the different things that we've seen in the things that he was talking about in Black Panther. So it's still the same goal. He just had a much more elaborate plan in this one. But ending scene is we have Pepper Potts and Shuri working together, and Shuri just like lays it all out there for Pepper, and she's like, I knew this guy was corrupt.
How did you find that out? Well, Tony was a genius, but he's not the only one that is a genius.
Exactly.
Yeah, I loved it. She was my favorite character
yes.
in this episode. It's a younger version of her, right? So it fits up with the timeline. But yeah, it was cool, which kind of may foreshadow the future of the Black Panther universe in the MCU.
There's a lot of people who are saying, well, maybe this is them trying to show Shuri's resourcefulness. I was like, we got a lot of that in the movie.
Well, we already knew that she would take over as the tech person for the Avengers and things like that. Now, may have bigger shoes to fill, potentially.
Yeah, with Chadwick's passing.
Yeah.
But I had a buddy who's like, he texted me. He's like, I'm confused. I was like, what are you confused about? Like, it was a pretty straightforward episode. Yeah. He's just like, well, are they trying to set up Killmonger's return? I was just like, I doubt that, dude. Like, I don't see any way.
Was rumored, but I don't foresee them doing that. I think they bring in a different person to play Black Panther because he's a villain, right?
Absolutely.
And Black Panther is going to be a hero.
Yeah, you can't have that crossover. Even if it would be a great redemption, it still just, I don't think it's going to hit the way they wanted to hit.
Yeah.
So I really think as far as Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever, we're going to see Shuri take on the mantle of Queen of Wakanda, and she is going to wind up being also the Black Panther.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting.
So how did you like, though, in this episode where King T'Chaka's wife, I can't remember her name.
Yes, she was the general.
She was the general of the Dora Milaje, which makes sense, dude, because I didn't think about that. But that makes so much sense that for you to be able to elevate to the queen's position, you have to be able to defend the king as well as, lead.
Yeah, I can see that. And then she was a general while the king was alive. And then maybe once the king was killed, she was no longer in that position.
Right.
And then they gave it to somebody else that became general until maybe the next queen would take that mantle back at that point.
Right. Well, also the fact that the Black Panther movie takes place years later than the original Iron Man 1, which is the time frame we're working in. She may have already retired at that point, just like, okay, hey, we have somebody who is just as capable as me now. It's time for me just to step back and be the queen.
Yeah.
Which I thought was brilliant, the way they played it out. So I'm really excited because they did release a mid-season trailer. And we have new scenes in it, which makes it even more confirmed that we're going to get a crossover episode later in this season.
So should be good.
Yeah. Another, I pointed it out last week that every episode we have a Iwatu the Watcher. He's becoming a little bit more visible and
Pretty
more
much
visible.
Seen him
like he's
full-fledged now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be the thing. Like something's going to happen, and we're going to have him step in and
He's
say,
gonna break his own rule.
Yes. Exactly. No longer just watching and observing, but actually bringing together a team.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I'm really excited. I really like this episode. What would you rate?
I'd probably go 3.8.
3.8? I'm going to go 4.2 just because of the fact that there were so many layers and so many references to Iron Man 1 and Black Panther. I was just like, okay, y'all really did your homework on this one. Like, y'all
fun,
really went deep on this.
But I still liked episode 2 the best.
Oh, absolutely. Star-Lord?
That was just a fun episode from start to finish.
It was.
And I don't know. I may grade it more than that just because of Claw.
Yeah.
I got to see more Claw. I'd give it a 4, I guess.
Okay, go over the 4. Okay.
Yeah.
4.2. I loved it. I thought it was great.
Based on just Claw in there in general, I'd give it a 5 just because I love that character. But overall, I guess I go about 4. Yeah.
Right. But Claw did a lot in this episode. Like you really got to see the potential of what he could do.
Yeah, even with him working with Killmonger, like, hey, I did everything you told me to do, and hey, it worked out beautifully. And hey, remind me not to play chess with you, man.
Exactly.
Like, bro, that's brilliant.
Yeah. So I loved it. Thought it was a great episode.
Yeah. I'm excited for the next 3 episodes.
We have 3 more episodes. We have 9 episodes this season. So I wouldn't be surprised if we got one more. I think this will be the Gamora episode, the next one, which will be episode 7,
and
then hopefully a 2 episode crossover for the season finale because that's a lot to bring in for just 30 minutes.
Yeah, or if they do a longer episode.
I still don't think we're going to get a longer episode. I think they're just going to do a 2-part episode because that gives everybody time to fulfill and be a little bit bigger character.
Yeah,
so
we'll see.
But anyways, loved it. Any other things that you noticed in this episode that you thought were just like, that's a fun little nod out?
I don't think so.
No, we covered most of it. It was pretty fun.
It was
a
good.
Great episode. So. All right. So anyways, that's it this week from Monkey C.
Monkey Review.
So do us a favor. Hit that like button.
Subscribe.
Share. Leave some comments. Let us talk about this episode. If we missed something, put it in the comments. Let's talk about it. Yep. All right? We love you guys. We'll see y'all next week.
Bye, guys.